Going on to you Libras out there. So you Libras have the Five of Cups, the Three of Cups, and you Libras have the Knight of Swords. So huge amounts of regret for this person. Huge amounts of regret coming in for this person that didn't really want to take this relationship seriously because their mind was distorted. So that should really be taken like a compliment, truth be told. If I'm really gonna go there, if I'm really gonna go there for real, that should really be kind of taken like a compliment. And the reason why is because a lot of people out here, their minds are distorted from their laziness, from their ego, this sense of entitlement, social media, how stupid some people are. Like, some people truly are remedial. And this has nothing to do with trying to humiliate people. Because when you really look at it, to you Libras, the reason why it is that that person was giving you a hard time was because you were a very terrible thought. Because being with you Libras meant that they had actually had to grow up and stop getting on like they stupid. And to a person, in the mind of a person who's not ready for that, and not only are not ready for that financially, but mentally, spiritually, that is a terrible thought, where they actually have to grow up and learn and take responsibility for the things that they be doing. You know, this is why it is that I clown so much, my dear Libras, and I talk about short yellow bus, because people don't think in a healthy fashion a lot of times. A lot of times people think in a self-destructive, dysfunctional, warped, distorted mentality. This is the way that a lot of people think most of the time. This is the way that the masses think. You understand what I'm saying? So anything that is constructive, Libra, anything that is truly progressive, things that are the natural progression of where things are supposed to be. If you're talking about, you're trying to make it better with time, you're trying to advance it, right? You're trying to make it better. Yeah, you got to understand that most people don't think of that with that type of mind. So the reason why I say that it's a good thing is because people who have a distorted mentality or a twisted mentality, they're gonna think you terrible. But that's great, because you don't want to hang out with somebody who thinks like that anyway. So the Four of Cups now and the King of Pentacles, yeah, represents, because they're hard to date, they're hard to interact with, because they're warped. They're warped. They're complete, and again, like they're completely warped. Like, people really have to start taking things into consideration, that the mere fact that a person is willing to destroy their life and live in abject poverty for their whole life, remainder of how many years they have, there's something else going on there, where it's like they're deliberately choosing to not do something that they know would create an upside for them. So what does this have to do with you? The King of Pentacles represents how you Libras, that's not your problem. I was just giving you Libras a piece of game on how distorted people's minds work. And then the Three of Wands represents how the Three of Wands represents how for you Libras have embarked on a brand new journey. You have progressed. Your character has grown. You've become more of who you are. You've become a lot more free spirited. Here's what I'm talking about. There's different facets of free spirit. When most people today talk about they free spirited, that means that they on some you know not being loyal, uh not being loyal. I'm trying to put this nicely, but there is a way to be free spirited. The other way of being free spirited is a person that's not held down by their limitations and their emotions, or their logic for that matter, and isn't tied down in such a way where it is causing them to lose based upon their attachment to these things or ideas or people, right? So a lot of you Libras have learned to become a lot more open-minded, in the sense that you have started to understand to not hold on to anything or to anyone too tightly, and that this is what happens when you do, right? You were trying to hold on tightly to an individual where their mentality is warped, and you Libras learned your lessons from it, and you realized that that wasn't a very good decision for you to make, so you stopped doing that. And then now the Sun and the Nine of Cups represents, look at what great came out of that. Your confidence is on point. You're a lot happier. You're a lot more free spirited, in the sense that you're not holding on to things that hold you down, places that hold you down, concepts that hold you down, or any kind of attachments, right? So because you don't do that, right, there's a sense of you Libras becoming more about who you are. The reason why I say you're becoming more about who you are is not because it's not because it becoming who you actually are is not about tying yourself into other people. It's about learning who you really are for real, without the outside influences, or the outside influences making less of an impact in your life, where you can actually decide for yourself what truly what truly you are about and what you're not about. That's the true self, right? So while at the same time progressing, if progression and change needs to happen, okay? So now that you Libras are doing that, right? The King of Cups and the Queen of Pentacles represents, like I said, you have a lot of options. You have a lot more possibilities, a lot more choices, because you don't have this person holding you back. This was a big breakup for you Libras. What I'm saying is, this was kind of a big breakup. It was a huge turning point for a lot of you Libras, because it was a connection that was important to you. And this person didn't want to act like they had any kind of common sense. They were an enemy to you, just like you Libras had all of these enemies around you. Because I remember talking about it a few months ago, back in like March, talking about how, the thing with Libras and air signs in general is that, remember that couple of readings, how I was talking about how a lot of air signs be having enemies around them that they misconstrue as friends, romantic interests, and family members, right? Well, this is the growth of that. This is the progression of that, about how the same person that you're kicking it with romantically, they've even turned their back on you, where they became an enemy of yours, just like any enemy that you have may have went out to work and face every day or whatever, but they made your life much more difficult than it has to be. It doesn't have to be this hard-headedly difficult, right? Where everything has to be super complicated and confusing and difficult, way more than it has to be. And this person showed you their hand for real, and now you Libras are like, okay, forget about it, right? It hurt for a little bit, but then you Libras started to let go of all the things, and now you Libras are in a position where it's official. Y'all are out here getting to know brand new people romantically, because now you're in an emotional state or estate to actually be able to do so, because you Libras for a little while, I'm not even gonna lie, you were jaded. You Libras didn't even necessarily you wasn't even sure who you Libras should trust and who you shouldn't. And now you're getting out of that, because trauma distorts the mind. Trauma can absolutely distort the mind. Absolutely. Absolutely it can. So what I'm seeing here is the King of Cups and the Queen of Pentacles right here is about how now you don't have to deal with this person. Don't reflect on this person anymore. Learn what it is that you Libras needed to learn from this person, and then decide to move forward. Because you're learning from this person, but I don't want you Libras to overthink of things too much and overanalyze every single thing. Take the important lessons about how when people are in your life, Libra, and it seems like they are an enemy as well, accept it for what it is and accept the fact that they choose to be an enemy as well. It doesn't mean that you Libras have to stay with them. You can absolutely leave them alone. It's called freedom of association. It's not a privilege. It's a right. You can pick and choose whom you want to associate yourself with. And then there's nuance with that. But the point is freedom of association, right? You have a right to associate yourself with anybody. So as a result of this, right, what happens is this. You're in a very good position. So let's clarify this King of Cups. Ace of Swords, Four of Wands, the Sun, the Knight of Pentacles, and the Fool. The Ace of Swords and Four of Wands is about how sharp your mind is becoming. You Libras are understanding, because Libra rules the wheelhouse of interaction. Everything interacting and connecting with everything else. A giant net of existence, how everything is connected. That's what Libra represents. Putting the connections or the dots together. That's what Libras represent. Right? So the Ace of Swords and the Four of Wands is you putting the dots together, like I was just talking about. How love, it is intuitive. It is common sense. It is intuitive, right? Like, a person shouldn't make you feel bad for wanting to be in a relationship with them, right? If they're coming off like they're an enemy, just like other people that you know that are enemies, that don't really have your best interest in mind, that bash you, that give you that give you an unnecessary difficult time, right? They don't have any kind of real cause as to why they don't rock with you, right? It's just delusional. If those people are giving you a hard time and you're that close to them, it's within your best purpose to stay away from them, because love is intuitive. Factually, it is. It is intuitive and it is intuitive and non-intuitive at the same time. It is a form of intuition that will drive you crazy if you try to connect the dots on every single detail. Trust me, I so the Sun card and the King of Pentacles here is the Knight of Pentacles is how and that's what it is that you Libras need to be focused on, because Libra is the zodiac sign of love anyway, right? So work with what works with you. You know, a lot of you Libras, y'all are getting to know some people, but it's not anything too pronounced. It's more so, you Libras are just doing some flirting here and there and everything like that. And then you have the Fool card, which represents you are learning yourself. And what is your next step and where you need to go.